Hello everyone, and hello to the Division survival fans. In today's video I want to share with you the complete guide on how to survive inside survival mode, and kind of like explain you detailed ways of tips and tricks how you can use and actually to stay alive, because I saw some of you guys wanted this video, so I decided to make it. And before we get into the video, I see that 67% of you guys are not subscribed, so if you kind of like press the subscribe button and also notification bell, that would help me a lot. And also you guys are watching it, so yeah, do that and let's get into the video. First things first, let's look on the most immediate thing that any agent needs in order to stay alive. It's actual clothing. So clothing is a piece of a mechanic that we don't have in other game modes besides survival, and it's important for us because we have a cold meter. That cold meter will actually go down as long as we stay outside. So it's important to get the best clothing that we can find, and also you can craft them as well. So craft them looting or even getting from regular NPCs. You will be able to stay more outside and also not get cold. What happens when you get cold? It's actually when the cold meter goes away, your life will essentially start to go down. And in order for you to stay more time outside, the better clothes you have, the better you will be able to search and kind of like run from place to place to find different gear sets, weapon, clothing, or anything else that will be useful for you. So clothing is important. I will not say that we have like a meter that we need to kind of like reach. So get the best clothing that you can find, and yeah, that's one of the steps that we need to look on in the beginning when we play survival. The second point that we need to address on, it's actually the gear. So the gear, I'm speaking specifically about the equipment. So the one thing that we need to focus on from the get-go, it's actually get our stamina or HP up. What I found out from playing almost 10 years of survival mode is that the optimal health pool that you need to have is between 90k and 110k. So that will probably be the middle, the optimal range. Now, if you're in the beginning and say, okay, I need more HP because NPCs are still dropping me, you can go up to, let's say, 130, but I wouldn't go further than that because you'll do less damage. Now, the second attribute that I'm going to talk about is electronics. Electronics is not something that you want to invest on, because the way that the game was set up in the last patch, electronics or electronics builds are not so good anymore. So investing in them is not a good priority. What I recommend, it's actually going into firepower. So get that sweet spot between 90 and 90k or 110k, and then all of it invest in firepower, because you will need, especially at the end fighting the hunter, you kind of like need more damage to take him out. So it's important to have this balance between stamina and also firepower. Electronics, it's in my opinion, it's optimal, but keep in mind that hunters can actually hack your turret or your seeker mine at the end, so it would be kind of like pointless to have a build based on electronics. This will be, let's say, in the future, if you get to a comfortable way on how to play survival, you can kind of like experiment going for electronics build or a hybrid build, but I will not recommend it in the beginning. So Keep that in mind. Stamina comes first, firepower comes after. Next part is the weapons. So I'm not going to go into much detail regarding the weapons, but I will explain some advantages. So best or optimal in the beginning for any survival player should be, let's say, assault rifle with sniper rifle or SMG with sniper rifle. I will kind of like go in that direction. But this is survival, so it's based on what you get. But I will say assault rifles are kind of like the way to go. Give you like an example. So LVU, LEC, lightweight M4 or police M4 are kind of like let's say the optimal. But if you find it hard to use these three assault rifles, you can go with the P416 or the MK16. These are kind of like let's say lower rate of fire, more stability, but yeah, a low RPM. So it's kind of like trading off RPM to stability. Now for SMGs are, let's say, Navy MP5 or MP5 ST that you get from the Dark Zone when you craft it. LMGs, whatever. One thing that you need to take in consideration that when you're using LMG, especially because they have a lot of bullets, you need to kind of like get in cover, because the more you stay out of cover and fire, NPCs will try to flank you. So keep that in mind. Shotguns has a very good let's say feature. You can stagger your opponents, the NPCs that you're fighting. You're able to stagger them, and once the NPCs are staggered, they will try to run away. So that's a good point to keep in mind, especially if they get close to you. Marksman rifles, good. I think that they are situational, in my opinion. Are best with either SMGs or maybe shotguns, but I wouldn't kind of like recommend using it from in the beginning, because the damage is kind of like closer to the assault rifle and is not that optimal, in my opinion. But you need to do some experiments, try them all out, see what fits you better. But this is my opinion on when it comes to weapons. Right, so next up are the skills. I'll be quite briefly with this because there's not too many skills that you can use that are actually optimal for survival. So the first one will be the pulse. For you guys that just started playing the Division, pulse is kind of like a legal wall hack where you can see your enemies through walls and highlight them. So that's one important key, especially if you want to go around them and not fight them. Second one will be the turret, which is actually good, especially if you want to do landmarks, because even though you don't invest so much in skills, they are good on taking aggro. So the turret will take aggro from you and you'll be able to fight multiple NPCs. Seeker Mine, it's the third one. In my opinion, this is mostly used when you are kind of like flanked. Very good when you're flanked, because once you throw it, the NPC that will be targeted, he will try to run away from it. So try to think of it as a stun, because he will not fire at you, because he will run from the Seeker Mine. So keep that in mind, that it's highly important. The rest of the skills, in my opinion, are not that good. Shield also not that good, because it will stagger you once the shield health is 0. So I will not recommend any other skills. Try to play as most as you can with the pulse, and probably say either Seeker Mine or turret, depending on to you. Next up, it's the food and drinks. Now, I know that some of you guys may think like, why do we need to focus on food and drinks? So let's start with the food. Food, it's actually a very good component to regain your health without using the medkit. So let's say, for example, if you fought a bunch of NPCs and your health is kind of like on the last square or the second square, if you want to get it at full health, you can actually use food instead of using a medkit. So that's a props to it. The second point that I want to touch upon is the water, or water and soda, because there are two of them. Water and soda both gives you the ability to see loot items that you can loot through walls. It's kind of like the same thing with pulse, but instead of seeing enemies, you'll be able to see boxes that you're able to loot, either clothing, gear, fabric, electronics, whatever. So water and soda has this feature. Now another thing that soda has is that it actually can reduce the cooldown of your skills. So if you want in the beginning if you don't have any skills, try to drink water first, and when you acquire skills, if you want the cooldown to be a little bit smaller, I'll probably say I think it's like around 50% cooldown reduced, use soda. So that's a component and you need to kind of like keep track of it. Once you get too thirsty to once you start, if you receive the message you're thirsty on your screen, um, you need to kind of like keep in mind that you won't be able to see any items through any lootable items through the walls. So that's a major impact that you have to take in consideration. So try to stay hydrated as much as possible and use food, especially if you want to not use any medkits. Now we got the basis out of the way. Let's talk about the heavy stuff. So the dark zone. What is the objective when we reach the dark zone? So the dark zone, it's mostly um, uh, focus on getting the antiviral once you drop in, and also crafting an flare gun that you need to use in order to call extraction. So mainly once you enter the dark zone, you're going to see a little marker that will show you where to go in order to get the antiviral, and also get the antiviral. You'll receive the antiviral and one division tech, and that division tech will actually help you in order to craft the weapon. Once you crafted the weapon, sorry, the flare gun. Once you crafted the flare gun, then you can go onto the extraction platform, calling the helicopter for extraction, and you will be receiving a hunter. So if you play multiple players at the same time, the more players you are on the extraction area, the same amount of hunters you need to face off. So if you are 3 players, you're going to face up 3 hunters at the same time. So keep that in mind. And last aspect of the dark zone, it's actually about the gear. So the only way how you can get high-end gear, which is basically the yellow one or the gold one or whatever you want to call it, it's actually by crafting it. So there's no way how you can farm high-end items inside the dark zone or outside the dark zone. The only way how you can get it is by crafting them inside inside the dark zone. Now, do you need a full high-end build to actually take out NPCs in dark zone or even the hunter? No, I would say not. But for the first time when you play in this game mode, try to get as much high-end items as you can. Once you kind of like get the feeling of it, you kind of like sacrifice maybe, or not so much focus on getting all of your items high-end, because you'll find out that it's not necessarily worth it. The more high-end gear that you have, the easier it's for you to survive. But don't focus on those things on when entering the survival, because you have a time limit until that virus will actually take you down. So keep that in mind. Gears are, the higher the gear, the better. But try to look at the timer. How much time do you have until the virus goes down to 0? Because that will mean game over. So there's no way how you can come back from it. So keep that in mind. So that being all of the mechanics or the stuff that you need to look for on, I will kind of like give you like an idea on how to survive. So this is my tactics that I use. So the first thing is that when you start playing from the beginning, you need to kind of like not focus on getting killing NPCs, because the items that you get from the NPCs you can actually get by looting from different places. So I have videos in the past where I actually didn't kill anyone besides the hunter, but I was able to get good loot. So do not focus on killing NPCs. Focus on staying alive. Use items that you have in order to make a better build, and only engage when is necessary. Do not engage if you can pass to different street or through the building, because engaging them in some situations, if you especially don't have like clothing items or good clothing items, or if you don't have like enough medkits, the NPCs can take it down. Also the cold as well, because most of the time when you are fighting NPCs, you kind of like forget about the cold meter, and that can actually kill you as well. So not engaging is probably like the best scenario on how to stay alive in the beginning. Furthermore, I will say that the top floor, like the buildings, are actually a good way where you can find good items or gear or weapons. On top of the buildings, depending on which part of the New York you really are, because it depends on which area, either the east, the west, because there are different buildings. So on top of it, it's actually kind of like, let's say, a little bit colder, but you'll be able to find a lot of items without fighting NPCs. Now, risky part, it's actually going on the underground, because in the underground you're going to face enemies that will be, let's say, some of them will be either normal NPCs or veteran. Veterans are the ones with the purple, I think, yeah, purple life. So try to get to the underground areas when you kind of like have like a decent build. Once you kind of like reach 17 or 80k HP, this is when it's probably best to kind of like go inside. Another part, do not touch the landmarks. Landmarks are actually high risk, high reward, but in some cases it could be high risk, no reward, because you can get like pieces that are electronics, or you can find items that you don't use. For example, if you don't want to use a shotgun, for example, you get like a shotgun from the weapons cache. So in the beginning, do not fight landmarks until you kind of like extract it like 5 or 6 times. Then you kind of like feel confident in order to do landmarks. This is also addressed for the landmarks inside the dark zone as well. But in the beginning, do not focus on any landmarks whatsoever. Now, the last part I want to touch upon, it's actually the hunter. The hunter, it's actually quite annoying. So try to use sniper rifles, especially any form of M44, either hunting, custom or classic. It doesn't matter. Try to get one of these snipers and try to stay as far away from him as possible, because once he gets close to you, he can one-shot you from close range. So try to avoid and have like a distance from the hunter. So yeah. So that's kind of like it for the guide. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope that I left you with some good impressions and also information that you might want to use inside of survival. And yeah, if you guys want me to do other type of let's say guides for the survival, please let me know in the comment. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, especially if you're new, because I will be bringing more Division survival runs in the future. And until the next time, have a good one.